How you doing, everybody? I just got up. It's only 5 in the morning. I slept a few hours. I slept a decent amount. One of my friends swung by before 10 last night. Just a few minutes to talk. And anyways, so I wanted to take a few minutes to explain to you the difference between a normal fissure and what's called an alterior fissure. And the difference is very simple. A normal fissure is the chemical process or chemical reaction between two chemicals, usually a base and a reactant. That's usually an oxidizer, similar to oxygen. Now, two elements would come into contact and would have a chemical reaction and would turn into another element, basically. That would be a standard fissure. And both are usually the same state or very similar states to occupy a third element. Now, what is an alterior fissure? Well, it's a chemical process involving three elements. For example, the sun would have hydrogen, oxygen, and sulfur. Hydrogen would be your base element. Oxygen would be your oxidizer, which would be your primary reactant to your reaction. And in the alterior fissure, you would have the motive of a third element added to the main reaction, which would be sulfur as your catalyst, or your secondary catalyst, to both thermiate and dispense in that radiation. That's an alterior fissure. You can describe an alterior fissure as a three-way. Basically, for example, your wife would be asking you to bring in one of her girlfriends in for one night, for a little night of fun because she's single, and for whatever reason you would initiate a three-way. Well, that's the same process as an alterior fissure. You would have a base, which is you, the man, a primary reactant as an oxidizer, which is your wife, and a secondary catalyst, which is your wife's girlfriend. That's what would be an alterior fissure. Three chemicals coming into a bond in a process and would simply retransmit into a different state. Three elements would combine and form one, basically, in a sense, without completely finalizing the bond. And in some cases, like the sun, would have a golden center, so a fourth element to back it all up. That would be still an alterior fissure. You would have another element in place added in, which is usually all three piggybacking into a fourth element. So, therefore, a golden gas center.